back to my bookshelf tour. We're into poets. Start off with some Roy Kyuka, who, mm, yeah, let me get all my Roy Kyuka in one thing. He is a Vancouver poet and painter. He was a Vancouver poet and painter, sort of prevalent, I think, big in the 60s. Died in the 80s, I believe. I know him through David McFadden, who will just come up next, who read some of his poetry and really turned me on to him. This is probably my most treasured book in all these library tour stuff, is Pear Tree Poems by Roy Kyuka. It is, I guess it's first edition, something like that. I got it in Arizona of all places. My wife got it for me as a present. Yeah, yeah. Who knows how long this small psalm to an old pear tree and your preserved pears will sing into the so-called future. Who knows? Who knows? But it'll sing for a little bit longer. Yeah, beautiful book. Um, Here's more of sort of his, I guess, kind of a bit more of his kind of a collage style in poetry. All these pages have different things in them, and actually this book is falling apart, so I'm not gonna do it open. This is Fontainebleau's Dream Machine by Roy Kyuka. I've got his actual big collected. Oh, it's way up there, but here, I'll show you this one, which is Trans-Canada Letter. It's really, Vancouver to Halifax. all the letters of him. Yeah, dear Pagan Jim, dear Daniel, dear Tony. Dear Tony, we note to remind you I want to teach at UBC because Vancouver is where I truly want to be. All my incessant moving about is simply evidence of how homeless I've been and will be till I find myself back in Vancouver. GK at VAGSD said jokingly, Kyuka, you're too damn expensive for us, which is plain bullshit. Though I'm not as cheap as I once upon a time used to be. None of us are anymore, or rather, who wants to be used cheaply when the so-called GNP soars? So yeah, it's kind of poetry, postcards, letters to friends and fam. And then yes, I've got my stack of David McFadden's, which on top I've got the book that I was introduced to him when he did a reading up at UVic, which is Gypsy Guitar, which are I think these are it's 100 poems. Yes, 100 poems. Dead Hippopotamus starts off with, and starts with Il Vecchio is our love. They are, what is it? 100 poems of romance and betrayal. The robe of your intelligence. I have the impression that roars of trucks along Spadina Road is disturbing the row of fig trees on my balcony. The stems of the flowers I send you are rooted in the blood and guts of unknown ancestors. We're human and want to destroy the witches and Incas of our lack of understanding. This summer, flags have become a big issue in small towns throughout the United States. If you don't fly a flag, your neighbors will spit on you in the all-night convenience store, and maybe even call you a commie. A man and a woman wrap their baby in a Stars and Stripes blanket and walk down Main Street. They say the world has to end someday. Who cares if it ends in a nuclear war? Humanity is a soft word. Mankind hard. One doesn't say have a little mankind. Tomorrow is Hiroshima Day, and now we all know those people were deep fried, not to end the war, which was already over, but to scare the Russians out of trying to take over Europe. The only freedom worth fighting for is the freedom to love well, or the freedom to fight yourself in order to prepare yourself to take on the task of destroying the nations to liberate the freedom to love. You asked me not to write about you. So yes, David McFadden. And yes, I've got a bit of his, I think this is his travel writing, or no, Canadian Sunset is a comical but sensitive novel of search and discovery. It is the story of Walter J. Littlewood, an armaments salesman who finds himself fostering both a strange friendship with a Tibetan Lama and a romantic attachment to a Japanese painter. In both relationships, Littlewood is surprised by his own reawakening. So yes, there he is, a little bit younger than when I saw him. That's probably more of an accurate thing of when I saw him. I've got a variety of his books. My Body Was Eaten by Dogs, selected poems, but this is quite an older one, edited by George Bowring. What's the Score? 99 poems, down from 100. And A Night in Dried Plums. Yes, here. I'm just going to read one more. My Words / Hamilton. This is the 20th century speaking. I think I made a wrong turn somewhere. I was reading a book I didn't understand, and I remembered what good friends we were. You dropped your children off at my place, and I raised them for you. When you came back after the war, you settled in another city, settled in another settlement. Your children are grown up now, and living in a third city, neither one of which you are settled, nor the one that I am settled. Yesterday I painted a picture of Robinson Crusoe. I remembered when you said we were friends in Chaucer's England. So many things have happened, yet I have never been impotent. I was directing traffic at an accident and stepped in someone's brains and wasn't sick. I have never been afraid of time. I have always been like that. We have had some trouble with our youngest in 1969. She wrote this poem, Birds can fly, butterflies can fly. Why can't I fly? Then she became sick. She was in a coma for 6 weeks. For a year she did nothing but draw pictures of horses eating each other. Then she began spying on me and writing letters to the police. Now it's 1973, and she is the Vancouver Sun food editor. I know I have deeply offended you, but please get in touch with me. You can dictate your life story, and I will type it out for you. Send me your old clothes, and I will make new ones for you. Send me a snapshot of yourself, and I will paint you transfigured with divine ecstasy. I want to get over this fear, not of dying, but that I am dead. These are my words. They existed before I was born, but not in this order. Before I wrote these words were even then my words. Dear friend, you are my words. If you write, do not use any of them. David McFadden. Night in Dried Plums. All right, I will stop there with that excess of poetry reading.